Hello, and welcome to the Sovereign Collective podcast, where we bring you real, raw truth for your self-empowerment. I'm your host, Sasha Calavoda, and I believe that you can stand on your own 2 feet, but that you don't have to do it alone. I love learning from people who continually strive to raise the bar, to go against mainstream thinking, and who dare to question the general consensus. People who risk being ridiculed or even risk the loss of their professional status as they bravely question the common narratives and challenge the rest of us to expand our minds and to reconsider what we think we already know. Join me in learning how to take control of your health and your mind so that you can have the energy to think more clearly and the confidence to step up and take responsibility for all aspects of your life. We promise to never censor here because I believe you are strong enough to hear the real, raw truth to make up your own mind. If you like what you find here at the Sovereign Collective podcast, then please share with your friends and family. I so appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And now, on to the show. Hey everyone, Sasha here for another interview with the Sovereign Collective podcast, and I am once again with my favorite homeopath, Mette Mitchell from homeopathy.com. She is a creative and an artist and a homeopath and empowering people with homeopathic knowledge and services for, I don't even know how long now. How long have you been doing this for, Mette?
Well, I say it's 10 years ago since I finished my training, and
Okay.
then the training is 4 years. And then before that, I'm doing what hopefully everybody's doing, is kind of like geeking out with their kits and
Right.
remedies and
Yes,
stuff. Yeah.
totally, totally. So long, good long time. And I'm sure lots to be gleaned, lots to be learned over those years. So she's been doing this for a long time and she offers services, whether it's one-on-one consulting. She has some classes that you can sign up for if you go to sovereigncollective.org/shop. And you can see some offerings that Mette has there. Also, she does like live classes, online classes, and we're going to be talking about one that she has coming up in a little bit. We're going to be talking about some different remedies that I knew nothing about until I spoke to Mette about that. But before we get into that, I want to ask her some other questions. But if you have first, you want to get to, we're not going to get to the fundamental basics of homeopathy and understanding about where it came from and all that in this interview. But if you want to know, go back and listen to, I've done a couple more interviews with Mette, number 37 and number 54. They're super inspiring. They're super empowering. They help, they let you know that you can take stuff with you wherever you go and feel that you've got a lot of bases covered, whether it be first aid, unexpected symptoms, whatever. Homeopathy can be miraculous in the moment, especially when we use it immediately, right in that acute stage, right when we're super vital. So Mette, thank you so much for being
Mhm.
with me today. I'm excited to learn more about different remedies that you're going to talk about today. But
Yes.
first, let's talk about, I've had some questions around, so I've been using homeopathy for a long time. I've got liquid remedies, I've got pellet remedies, I've got tablet remedies, I've got different remedies. So we're talking about frequency basically, right? We're talking about like
Mhm.
after a certain potency, there's nothing in the remedy anymore, but frequency and energetic imprint. But so why do I have, guys, I'm just going to jump right in here. Why do I have, like, if I have like a pellet remedy and I can take, I remember you saying you just take 2. Like they say to take 4 or 5 because that's what their testing has been on. But if you take 2 because the remedy's on the outside, in case you get a blank, you take another kind of thing, right? You just want that
Mhm.
frequency. So why is there different dosing with liquids and with drops? Why should I be taking 25 drops 3 times? Why not just 1 drop of a homeopathic tincture?
So if they say like 25 drops or anything like that, I would assume it's probably a low potency. That it's not like in a 200C, or that it's more like maybe a 60
Well,
or
say,
6.
for example, like lymph diral from Pasco. It's
Uh-huh,
something that I
uh-huh.
like to have a lot because lymph is one of my things that I like to move with. And so something like that, for example.
Yes. Well, I think it would that would probably be a low potency. And when it's a low potency, when it's a potency that is below 12C, then there is actually molecules in there.
Right.
And that means that it
Yeah.
is like a physical dose. So that also, it's like the tissue salts, for instance.
Yes.
They are also low dose, or low potencies, and there it's quite, you take like 4 pills at a time or something like this.
Right.
um and that's more like, like habit, like it's like if you got like even when you get like a low potency remedy from me, and you would still only have to take one pill. You wouldn't have to take more of it.
Okay.
So I guess it could have something to do with how it's made. Sometimes it's almost as if I think that if you take more drops, you'll buy more bottles. I don't know. You would
Right.
have
Yeah.
to
If you
ask
get a bottle,
the
you'll be taking,
manufacturer about that.
yeah. It is definitely a better model for moving product for sure.
Yes,
Marketing. Yeah,
yes,
for
yes.
sure. Okay. Because I've always wondered about that. It's like, well, I can take one pellet here, but I'm taking all these drops. And it just, to me, I've always wanted to ask that. So
Yeah.
for people, okay, quickly, when we make homeopathic remedy, they're super dilute. You've got the mother tincture. What concentration is the mother tincture? How is, because I know it's they're all made the same, if I think, right? Like
Mhm,
pharmaceutically
mhm.
speaking, they're all made the same. So what concentration is that mother tincture before it gets made into homeopathic remedies?
Well, that would depend on the remedy. So
It
I
does.
haven't actually worked in a pharmacy. I would like to try and work in a pharmacy one day, but to actually, yeah, just to really get deep into that and just to experience that. But because all homeopathic remedies, when they come from a pharmacy,
Yeah.
they are made by pharmacists. And that means that there is a exact recipe on how to make it. And that includes the mother tincture.
Right. Okay.
So, it depends on basically on what
Okay.
it is. And
Okay.
that's also why it's not just called herbal drops. That's why it's
Right.
called mother tinctures, because the mother tincture is different, like a Urtica urens, which is stinging nettle. Mother tincture is different from a stinging nettle herbal drops.
Right. Right.
Because the herbal drops, they will not have had to be made in this super specific way
Right.
as it would
Okay.
be for it to be a pharmaceutical product,
Right.
basically.
Right. 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 Okay. Okay.
Mhm,
That makes sense. Okay. I've always wondered about
mhm.
that too. And now,
Yes,
one other thing. So we know that homeopathy, you have explained in a past episode, works with the vitality of the body. So we're super vital, especially if we're in an acute situation. What if somebody is really beat down and tired and malnourished, and like, what does the lack of vitality affect the way homeopathy is going to work with someone?
yes, yes. So, and that's also why I think you can see that the kits, they are in a 30C potency.
Yes.
So that's like the basic 36 kit, like from Helios, the one that I I love and talk about all day, every day. And
Mhm.
so that's a 30C potency. And then if you look at the birth kit and the accident and emergency kits, they're in the 200 potency. So you can see that the potency in the basic 36 kit is in a 30C potency, which is a more flexible vitality wise potency basically. But you have to like when you're working with homeopathy
Yeah.
as a homeopath and you're prescribing and you are looking at what potency should I prescribe this remedy in, then
Yeah.
you're matching the patient's energy. You're matching the patient's vitality. So if you have somebody that is very weak, then you would probably go down and start with a 12C, maybe even a 6C, just to kind of like get the build up that vitality little by little. Because if you give a
Oh,
too high a potency,
yeah.
then the remedy is just not gonna, it's just not gonna stick. Because where is it gonna go? What's gonna receive it? You know?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So interesting. And yeah, because that's the thing, because I feel like you can never really go wrong with it. And if it just doesn't work, it doesn't work, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you have any doubts, then go with the 30C potency. That's like a very nice,
Yeah.
versatile, and if the body, like treating acutes, which I love treating acutes. I love everybody that treats the acutes at home because frankly, most chronic disease starts as an acute.
Right.
It's like, so look, if you just strain your ankle, right? And then what happens? Okay, then you will start walking in a weird way, which may give you something in your back, which may lead to a
Right.
migraine. That's just like a very simple way, like, but if you treat the strain with Ruta, Ruta, from the kids,
Mhm.
and just get that dealt with, then there's no extra strain on the rest of your body, and you just
Right.
dealt with it, and you're not going to suffer from anything long term afterwards.
Right.
So let's say that you do strain your ankle and you feel the pain and you can't put any weight on it and it just hurt. It's just painful. And then you take a Ruta 30C and then it works. And it works for, let's just say, 10 minutes. And then it stops working. Well, then you just repeat it.
Right. Right.
And if you took it in a 200, it would probably work for an hour. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Oh,
not
okay.
like, like my newest version of explaining potencies. I'm so proud of this explanation because it's
Okay.
like I really had to squeeze my brain. It's like, okay, how can I explain this? So if you imagine that your symptom or what you're suffering from, that's like a pot of boiling water that is maybe it's on the stove and maybe the heat is still on. Okay, we don't know, but it's like a pot of super hot water. And then we need to get this water down to a temperature that is so we can so it's not, I haven't really thought about that part, but it's like we need to get the temperature down. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
so that's the heat of the symptoms, right? So we need to cool it down, and then we take a remedy, and then we throw it into the pot, and then and we imagine that the remedy is an ice cube. Okay, so we throw an ice cube into the pot, and then when this ice cube has melted, then we need to throw in another one.
Okay.
So that also illustrates that very often, sometimes in the beginning of our symptoms, we need to prescribe more frequently.
Right.
But then if we then look at different potencies, then we can say that the higher the potency, the bigger the ice cube.
Okay. Uh-huh.
You know, so
Yeah.
so then we can start thinking of maybe a little bit of the potencies, like in that sense. So if you do a 30C or a 200C at home when you strain your ankle, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
You can just repeat the 30,
Right.
but
Right.
let's just say that you are not a very strong person, that you have a weak vitality, or then maybe the 200 wouldn't stick. Maybe it wouldn't. That doesn't fit into the analogy
Oh,
of the whole, but
right.
that but maybe let's say that the pot was small, too small, the remedy doesn't fit in.
Mm,
But that's the
that makes
thing,
sense.
we have to fit match the vitality in the patient.
Right. Okay.
And that's very interesting and so much fun. And like that's where it's not really fun to be a homeopath, because you need to be like, you're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Change, trying to find my best place here. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's cool. And that's the thing. It is safe to play with that. And that makes sense. And so the cooler it gets, the less frequent you're gonna have to administer that remedy, to the
Yeah.
point where, so people, I haven't, like, I work at a shop a few days a week, and so people come in and they're talking about taking these remedies. And I'm like, but whoa, whoa, whoa. This is something, what I love about homeopathy, lowest dose for the shortest amount of time, right? So, but
Yes.
people seem to be on, they were on remedies for too long. So can you speak to what happens when we're on a remedy for too long?
Yes, that's the only way you can overdose, so to say, on a homeopathic remedy, because you can't overdose because you repeat something very often over a short period of time. Say you strained your ankle and you're like, oh my God, this is so painful. And it's so painful for 2 days. And you have to take 80 doses a day. Go with it. It's fine. I don't think
Right,
anybody
right.
have to take 80 doses. It's just to illustrate. Maybe you need to take
Yes.
10 doses. I would say anything between for like something super acute, I would say maybe 3 doses over the first hour, and then 3 to 6 doses a day for 2 to 4 days. Okay.
Okay.
No, it's no problem with doing that. But if you keep taking the same remedy in the same potency every day for an extended period of time, then you start proving the remedy. And proving the remedy is then you start manifesting the symptoms.
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
start and like proving is what we also call when we find out as homeopaths, what can this remedy be used for?
Right. So you
Then
poison
we
yourself?
prove it. Yes. I don't, but some people do and they love it. No, but
Right.
yes, but there's many different ways of proving. Back in the day, Hahnemann, he would actually poison himself. He would take arsenic and he would write down everything that happened to him. And then he would say, okay, if I get like this on arsenic, this must be the symptoms that arsenic can treat when it's diluted, you
Right.
know?
So
Yeah.
fascinating. Just blows my mind. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody
Mm-hmm.
went and figured that all out. That's so cool.
And also, I don't think a lot of people know this because it's almost like but we have enough time to talk about this here. But you know that each remedy also is rated in 4 different uh, 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 um, occurrences. So if let's say that 100 people took something,
Yeah.
we're proving a homeopathic remedy, and then if let's say 10 out of a group of 100, they said, I got pain in my toes on the right foot,
Okay.
but not very many, but some did, then this symptom is being noted, and then it's just written in, what's it called when it's not capital letters?
Just um
Normal, no,
non-title
yeah.
case. Just small, small
Small
case.
case,
Lowercase,
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 lowercase.
lowercase, lowercase.
Oh, yeah. They're written in lowercase, okay? And then we have if let's say that 26, just to illustrate. So we have like below 25%, then we have between 25 and 50%. If they experience pain in the right knee when taking this remedy, then it will be written in our books in cursive. What was
Oh,
cursive? Yeah. And
okay.
then if it's let's say that between 50 and 75% they felt pain in their right shoulder, then it would be written in capital letters.
Interesting. Oh, I didn't know that.
And if then let's say between 75 and 100% they experienced a right-sided headache, then that would be written in capital letters with a line under it.
Okay. Huh?
Yeah. So
Heard
in
that.
that way, we can see uh, what's the probability that this remedy will work with this symptom.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that because it scores higher, that it's a more correct remedy. Because remember, like the 10 that got pain in their right toes, I mean, their suffering is just as real as the people that had the right-sided headache. It's just that there weren't that many of them.
Right. Okay.
So, that's what you do as a homeopath. You get to that's when we say we take the totality of the symptoms.
Yes.
And that actually took me a long time to learn, because you really want to see, today we do this repertory work, it's called, we do that on a computer, and then you basically get a score. You can see, okay, this remedy scores this high, this remedy scores this high, but it's not about the higher score, it's about the correct symptoms.
Okay.
And the correct symptom that you look up may not score very high in this remedy, but it can still be the correct remedy, so that's why we call it the totality. That's when we get into chronic prescribing, when it gets like super duper complicated, interesting, if you ask me. But
Okay. Okay. Super interesting. Okay. Cool. I
uh-huh.
think these were some of the ones that I wanted to get. So we're going to get into Narayani remedies
Yes,
today.
yes,
This is what you
yes.
wanted to talk about. And I'm pretty sure that most people though familiar homeopathy. I haven't heard of those. I've never heard anybody talk about those but you. Maybe now all of a
I-
sudden I'll hear about them now that I've heard about them for the first time. But
Yes,
they're a very interesting class of remedies that are combo remedies. So there's a couple of things in there. So first of all, if you can explain because there's different approaches to homeopathy, right? There's the
yes,
classical
yes.
homeopathy, the Narayani remedies. I'm sure there's other ones that I don't even know. There's whatever the sarcodes and the nosodes and the all this stuff. So please talk to us about the origins of the Narayani remedies, and then we'll go from there.
Yes. Okay. So the Narayani remedies, they were developed by Swami Narayani in the 80s. Or maybe she did it before that, but the Soham Foundation was established in 1986. I can just see here. Um, so Swami Narayani was a homeopath, South African homeopath, and she wanted, and you when you're a Swami, it's basically you're a good person. You're better than the rest of us. You've done some good stuff. People love you. It's like when you're, and she was a very good person, um, and she wanted to help the poor. And one of the ways she wanted to help the poor was to make combination remedies that were so much easier. Because look, the way that I just spoke about homeopathy here, it's like super duper complicated. It's like um you got the potencies, you got the
Yeah,
totality of
right.
like it's very geeky and nerdy, and it takes you don't even know these things just because you are a fully trained homeopath. This is something you need to get under your skin. But she of course knows like the power of the homeopathic remedies, and she wanted to do something that was easier to prescribe. So she wanted to do combination remedies so that instead of sitting there looking for the totality of the symptoms, you can just look up in her material that she made, you just look up the name of the suffering. And then you get a combination polypharmacy, we also call it, like, so then you have like the combination remedy, like my absolutely top I think the one that really drew me into
Mm.
Narayani is a remedy called CCA, and it's short for chest coughs and asthma. So it's like a beautiful, amazing cough remedy. And I tell you, just when I graduated, I would almost be scared, to have my praxis open in November, December, January, February, because I just didn't want to treat any coughs, because coughs is like super duper difficult to treat because they
Really?
change all the time. It's like, then
Mm.
it's wet, then it's dry, then it's worse at night, then it's worse during the day, then, it's like, it's extremely complicated. And you just don't want to have somebody drag like their baby in and it's coughing and coughing and nobody can stand it and you don't know
Mm.
what to do,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But then I got CCA. I learned about CCA from Narayani and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this. And then as it happened, then I got to treat this baby that had whooping cough. And
Ah.
I prescribed Drosera, which is the biggest remedy for whooping. One of the big remedies for whooping cough is in the blue kit as well. And CCA, and this was diagnosed by the doctor. And this was a dancer. The dad was gonna dance the Nutcracker in Copenhagen, and I think they came from Brazil or something. And they were living in this apartment together with other dancer families, and the other dancer families had moved out because this kid had whooping cough, and like
Oh,
it was a
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah.
disaster. But after 10 days, this kid just stopped coughing. It was over. And I got to see the Nutcracker. But um
Fun
that
bonus.
yes, but um it's like, okay, this is real. I love this remedy. I want to have this remedy. I want to give this to everybody. I've used this remedy for so many people. If you have a family, you need to have this. And then I was like, okay, I want to get deeper into these remedies. Got the book, there is one book that you need to get. It's called Narayani Remedies, and you can get it
Okay.
from narayaniremedies.com, the website. So that's pretty
Easy.
easy.
And can you spell
Yeah.
that for people who don't know what that
Yes.
that is?
So it's Narayani, and
Okay.
then remedies, Remedies.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes. So I got the book, and then I was like, oh my God, I want these remedies. And I started buying little bits of them.
Mhm.
And then I did a big quick calculation because you could also buy the full kit.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I was like, oh my, I was like, okay, you really have to make a decision very fast if you're going to get the individual remedies or if you're going to get the full kit, because it makes no sense to buy them individually. So I was like, okay, it was like a big investment, to get the full kit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get the full kit, and then I'm going to start doing training in it until I made the money that it cost me to get the kit. Basically, that's
Oh,
how
that's
it.
cool. Yeah. How many
But
remedies are there?
about 260 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, and it's also just like when you know about these remedies, you don't want to be without them. Then one day you're gonna sit opposite this person and you're like, oh, I need this remedy. And then if you don't have it,
So
it's
how do these remedies compare to other combo remedies like oscillococcinum or Boyron remedies, Pasco remedies, other homeopathic company remedies? Because there are combo remedies out there. What makes these ones special?
well, I think these are special. I like them. It's like a complete system for me. It's and and it's also very much like a closed system. There's not okay. There's additions that has been added since Swami Narayani left this realm,
Mhm.
and but it's kind of like this is what there is, and then you can buy. I mean, I have two books, free books that describes how to prescribe these remedies. I use one of them. I mean, I don't know. You can see the book. You can see how
Well
that's what I use.
used.
Look, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's you could from because there's also super nice combination remedies from Helios. There's
Yeah.
but this is like one system, and you can learn this, like I do this training. We meet 4 times, 2.5 hours, and off you go.
Okay.
And I think that this is great. It's like a big thing to take in for a family, like if it's for your family. But I have a lot of like other alternative practitioners, so reflexologists, acupuncturists, skin specialists, psychologists, it could be anyone, and that already has like a holistic practice. And then they just want to add homeopathy, and the kid is not really hacking it, in that way. But they can learn the system with Narayani, and then they can spend 5-10 minutes of their consultation, and they can prescribe a remedy as well and give it to people before they leave. So, you know, it's like a nice complete system for me.
Right. So it's kind of
Yeah.
addressing any aspect of like a cluster of symptoms that somebody might be having, kind of thing. Like so
Uh,
why is it a complete system? What makes it so
Well,
complete?
it's because you have like first of all, the system is built up into you have the mixtures, so that's just like the CCA, like all the best cough remedies put into one, right? Then you have organ mixtures, or organ combinations, which are organ support. I love the organ support. It's just so nice. I mean, like blood, organ support, blood, just to be able to support the blood. How are you going to support the blood without getting.
Oh, so just quickly, is that so that would be something that you would still do short term, right? Like you're not going to take blood support homeopathically long term.
Well,
You're going to take them.
lots of these organ support ones, they're low potencies. So very often you would take them for longer. If you do bone support I just prescribed bone support today.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
organ support. So for somebody with brittle bones, that the dentist kind of like is referring to. So it takes a long time for bone tissue to
Right.
regrow. because it's like hard tissue. So so you would have to take those for a long time, but then they're also low potencies, they're not, but so that's a good pointer to kind of like have you like, it's like when you take low potencies, it's like foundation remedies,
Okay.
and the foundation in a house is also fatter than, on the further you get up, the walls will get, your foundation is fatter than
Right.
than than the walls on the house, at least on the houses in Europe. I don't know.
These
The
houses
old
just blow over
houses.
after a few years here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh, so that can kind of take more. If you want to, I can explain to you why it works this way with repeating the remedies.
Yes, I'm just wondering, is it okay to take them regularly for a longer period of time, or is there a pulsing? Yeah. So yeah, tell me. Sure.
So like the reason why you shouldn't take remedies same potency, because it's very important, same potency every
Okay.
day for an extended period of time, because it's like, um if you have if you have like an old record, like a real record vinyl, and you put that on your record player, and it's you put it in a way so that it keeps going in the same
Right.
crack, what's it
Groove,
called, like,
groove,
yeah, groove,
groove.
yes, exactly. And even though that the pickup is super light and the vinyls is strong, if you let it do that, the record will become weak where the pickup is going, and then will become brittle, and then you create a weak point,
Okay.
you know so because there's wear and tear, because you just keep going in the same place, in the same place, in the same place, in the same place, you know so, but of course, when I say that the foundation is stronger, it's bigger, it's fatter, it's not so brittle and fragile as when we get up in the higher potency, so to say. So when you take a lower potency, you can keep going for longer, but it's still great to change the potency, because you only need to change it a little bit.
Okay.
You only have to move the pickup into the next groove.
Right. Okay.
And then you're kind of like listening to the same song or whatever, just in a different place, but you're out of this thing about creating a weak spot, because you just keep going in the same groove over and over and over again.
Right.
It's the same thing with supplements. If you take the same supplements, if you don't change it, they will stop working.
I see
They just
things
don't
like
work
that. Like,
anymore.
yeah, like a lot. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's good. It's like diversity is good. Changing things up is good. And people get stuck in there just talking to them. Well, I've been taking this same thing for this many years and I want to, she's looking for something. I'm like, it's probably not a bad idea for you to either take a break completely or just change it up with a different, but
Exactly,
we'll get into
exactly.
their things. So that's interesting. And so for people who don't know, to be clear, classical homeopathy, you're looking at one remedy, right? You're trying to find that one remedy that kind of encompasses it the best. Whereas Narayani is like, you're not even worried about that. It's like, what are you presenting with? And this is going to
Yes.
cover every potential version of that.
Yes, because this was made for poor people that can't afford to sit down and talk about their dripping nose for an hour and a half with a homeopath, you know.
Right.
And and at the same time, you can also train people really quickly in using it. So you don't have to have your whole family investing in you going to homeopathy college for 4 years before you can start prescribing to post-nasal drip.
Right. Fair. That makes a lot of sense. And I think
Yeah.
these days it's a very important tool because more and more people are realizing that they need to take this into their own hands, and not everybody has the resources or the time to become a professional and well versed in every single aspect of everything. So it's a great way to shortcut that and have a great tool right
Yeah,
now.
but also because our sufferings are more complicated now.
Oh, that's what
Our
I want to talk
suffering.
about too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why prescribing, would you say? So in the days of Hahnemann and when homeopathy first began and now is a very different world we're living in. Has that changed the lens through which you look through homeopathy and how you're treating people? And has that had like I would think like we always want to adapt. So how has that changed the face of homeopathy?
If you are a dogmatic classical homeopath, you are not going to adapt. You are just
Okay.
you are just gonna kill yourself trying to find that one remedy, and you're not going to find it because it's impossible. Actually, I'm also working on like a different type of training that I'm going to start in January in Danish first, which I call homeopathic addendum. So that's like a 6 months education for anybody that already have a holistic education that would like, because when people they come to the Narayani class, they're like, okay, what's our next class going to be? It's like never ending when you dip
Right,
your toe into the into homeopathy. You just want more and more and more. So I
right,
decided to make this one education. So I'm also it's not going to be ready in on maybe 2026 it will be ready in English. But um then I made this slide. When is classical homeopathy your worst choice of method? you
Mm,
know
mhm.
because we always think of classical homeopathy. If only I knew how to do it, it would be the best. Blah, 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 blah. But it's just not true, you know, because there are situations where classical homeopathy is just not good. First of all, if you are not, and I'm not talking about acute prescribing. Acute prescribing is not classical homeopathy either.
Oh,
That's acute
okay.
prescribing. So don't worry. This is not what I'm talking about. It's chronic when you prescribe for chronic stuff. So, um, um, but even if you are a trained homeopath, it doesn't mean that you know how to prescribe classically. There's so much you have to think about. So what you have to think about is, for instance, okay, my patient has nausea. Okay, so that's like a really key thing because there's nausea in the case. I need to find a remedy that has like a good score around nausea. That's like a key thing. Uh, but what if your patient is taking or has taken an allopathic medicine where nausea is a side effect?
Mhm.
Then now it's a side effect. So are you treating the side effect or are you treating the constitution of the patient?
Right.
Because if you take away the medication, the nausea probably wouldn't be there. And then this is not the constitution. And then you start taking that as a constitutional symptom. Like in this is the way this patient is. No, this patient is not like this. This is the way the patient is when they're taking this specific type of medication.
Mhm.
It's not the patient that is like that. It's just a side effect. It's like if you drink alcohol and you get drunk, you can say, uh, is that the state? Is that how you are? No, you're just drunk.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you start treating the patient or prescribing to the patient as this is the way that they are, then you're just not gonna treat them. You're just not gonna help the patient. And that's what this can be like a very long and dragged out process. And of course, you always strive to find the constitutional of the patient. And so do I, you know. And I love it when I can prescribe the constitutional remedy, which I do. Every week I prescribe constitutional remedies. But before that, we may have had to detox. We may have had to, deal with something acute anger. I mean, we gotta fucking help everybody with this anger. I'm sorry, but even if it's a 3-year-old child or a 50-year-old man, it doesn't matter. It ruins everybody's life. We gotta deal with it. And also, people are coming to the homeopath to get better. So I'm gonna give something. We got bad temper mix with Narayani. I can give them that. I'm say, take this home, give it a go, try. Let's see. I know it's not gonna cure. it's not going to cure the, the original suffering or whatever it is, but it's certainly going to help us. It's going to give everybody some peace so we can say, okay, does it work? Okay, great, that's fantastic, it works, because now we know you can use this remedy should there be anger, and then we can all say, okay, let's take a look at it from where we are now, because stress is not helping anybody to get better. Or if you can't sleep,
Yeah.
you are not going to get better, and it's and make it easier for the homeopath if you just still can't sleep.
Right, right, right.
So
So
th-
Narayani has a good sleep remedy.
they have a couple of good
Okay.
sleep ones. Yes, yes. So it's this thing. So if you don't understand this when you try to do a classic prescription, you're just gonna fail, you know. And then you have all the side effects. When you treat side effects, which is something lots of people suffer from, you can't do that with classical homeopathy. As a matter of fact, some classical homeopaths, they will say, you're not supposed to treat side effects. You're just going to keep looking for the totality of the symptoms and find the constitutional remedy, and then the patient will heal themselves. And it's like, and how long do you expect the patient to give you
Right,
to figure this out? And they pay you good money
right.
to come and see you.
Yeah, yeah.
So if there's acute suffering, if there's medication, if there's like, that's just not where the classical model is going to work.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And
So
also, even to say that what do you think came first, Hahnemann or the classical method?
Hahnemann? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
And the classical method was only invented or described. No homeopathy is invented. But the classical method is described by Kent, an American homeopath, and he was not even born when Hahnemann died. So it's like, if you want to go
Oh,
hardcore classical, then you have to deny Hahnemann. So
okay. That makes sense. Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So, okay. So back to Narayani then. So have we said what it is? Like, so what, like, let's talk about why is it so convenient for somebody who doesn't have the funds, and what is it covering? Like, what do we need to know about it?
What you need to know about, it's like a really super empowering system, because it's like the first slide on any Narayani training that I've gone to. It is no rules, do as you please. It's
Ah,
like, yeah.
oh, that takes the pressure off right away for people, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
And there's a lot of taking away the fear. There's high potency remedies in there, there's low potency remedies in there, there's mixture of potencies, that like all the stuff that you maybe have heard somewhere that you are not allowed to do. Um and you can combine the remedies. You can combine 4 different remedies. So you got, like I said, we have the mixes, which is very much like what you will find on the combinations on the Helios website. Then we have the organ mixtures that are organ support, where it's low
Right.
potency organ support. Then we have the balance remedies
Mm,
that helps balance
mm.
under different in different areas of the body. And then we have the Soham mixtures, and they are mixtures of the mixtures, so that they have made mixtures in
Wow.
remedies where they take mixtures from the Narayani remedies and combine them into one.
So that's like
So
third level, right? Because there's a mixture to begin with, and then a mixture of the mixture and a mixture. Okay. Oh, wow.
yes, yes, exactly. But if you take something like injury mix, I think, knowing, if you know like the blue kit, then you will know a lot of these remedies here. So let me just go through that. So let me just find that injury here. So if we take injury mix, okay, so what does it say? It says muscles, nerves, ligaments, cartilage, wounds, all injuries after surgery, hemorrhage, overstrain, to be used for all types of injuries, those of long-standing or an acute recent injury. You will see the remedies work on the structures covering the skeleton and protecting it. Okay, so that's the initial description of injury. And
Okay.
that's a mix. So that's just like a mix of different remedies. So the remedies we have here is number 1, arnica.
Monica. Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
For sure.
And yes, so arnica, we use that for anything bruising, swelling, blunt injury, basically. And then we have Bellis perennis. I don't know if you know Bellis perennis.
You refer to that as a deeper arnica, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yes.
Deeper tissue arnica. So, like with arnica, we think about something that has happened to us, like from the outside, that, and then it's not normal for that to go that deep into the tissues. But if it's like super bad, then it will go deeper
Okay.
into the
Yeah.
tissues.
Yeah.
Or as they say, so like when it says arnica here, it says muscles. It carries blood to the muscles, bleeding externally, overstrain in any part of the body, traumatic injuries, apoplexy, cerebral congestion, bruising, a feeling as if all muscles were beaten and bruised, and thrombosis. And then if we take Bellis perennis, then it's muscular soreness, muscle fibers or blood vessels, surgical work, injury of deeper tissues, nerve injuries, very painful. So we use that also for sciatica and stuff like that. Whiplash,
Oh.
where it gets like a little bit deeper.
So it's not just an injury. Say you have sciatica, say you have, oh, what if you have, I don't know, like fibromyalgia or, all these things, which I think that the roots are really in, I think, emotional trauma type of thing, really. But I
Oh,
mean, helping
I'll
you.
get to that.
Yeah.
I will I
Okay.
will give you everything.
But it doesn't have to be
Oh,
specifically from injury, though. Could it be something that
no, no.
expresses like an
Yeah,
injury would
absolutely.
express? Yeah. Okay.
It could be, but I just want to go through the remedies here,
Yes,
basically.
sure.
So
Yes.
arnica, Bellis perennis, hypericum, nerve endings, ledum, that's for puncture wounds, rustox, ligaments, tendons, and so on, and ruta for cartilage, um, straining injuries, basically. So, that's like the mix. Then we can go into like injury balance. Okay. So in injury balance, we have arnica, Bellis perennis, hypericum, ledum, rustox, and ruta. That was in the mix.
Yeah.
But then we also have organ remedies for cartilage, collagen, connective tissue,
Oh,
ligaments, muscles, membranes, tendons, and connective tissue, supportive tissue, and knees. So then you see now you start. There's like different levels of it, but you see how much we can get into one remedy.
yeah. It's a lot.
Yes.
Okay. And what
So, but
potencies are those?
so,
Oh.
what's your guess? Do you have a guess? I
Well,
know
I'm
that's
thinking a lower potency for injury because it's very physical.
yes. So, but no, but it's a 200. Like 200 is the most acute potency.
Okay. Okay.
So that's like when we say, like when I describe the 200 potency, is like, would you be able to do the dishes in the same room as the sufferer? You see
No.
somebody falling down from a ladder and they're screaming, and you just go, I'm just going to finish the dishes before I tend to this. No. Or if you have a lady giving birth, are you just going to, I would be right with you. I'm just going to
Right.
finish the dishes. Like 200 potency is like now.
Right.
But the
Okay.
injury balance, with all of these other remedies in there, it's a 50 M.
Which one is the injury balance? Oh, 50
Yeah.
M. Okay. And so for
Yeah.
people who don't know what that means, how much more potent would that be than a 200C?
Well, it's I don't even know how to describe it, but it's
It's a
it,
lot more dilute.
even the 200C, if you said that to a skeptic, they would just be laughing in your face and
Right.
say, well, there's no molecules in it. But at 50 M, it's just like, and that's also where it gets where it gets more. So like a 50 M, what's that basically? It's a 50,000 C.
50 M is 50,000 C? Is it?
Yeah, because M is millennia, so that's for 1,000. And
Right,
you know, the C is for centi, that's for 100.
right, right.
So, um,
So,
so that's one of the things that you have with the potencies. It is that okay, I explained it with the ice cubes and with the
yes,
this and with that and so on. But then there is also a point where we get to the very super high potencies, where it gets a little bit more, where it's like the game changes a little bit more again. And um it's like you can have a very high potency that is also super gentle at the same time.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
So it's homeopathy is like what I say with the whole work around potency and all of that, it's like you got to get it under your skin. But the great thing about Narayani is you don't even have to worry about it. You just get the information. It's 50 m, and then it says dosage 6 times a day, reduce with improvement. And if you want to freak out about the 50 m and you want to sit down and learn a lot about that, go ahead, but you don't have to.
Right, okay,
Everything is here. You can just prescribe it in this way.
right, right. Cool. So it tells you how much, how frequent, how everything. It's
Yes.
not okay. So what are some of your favorites? What do you like
Oh
to
my
use? What can you
goodness.
not be without? We know the
Oh,
CCA.
CCA, I will not be without that. Okay. And then I have a new favorite, and that one is a combo of a combo. Um, and it's called tension. I see a little
Sounds
tension in my
appropriate.
practice.
Yes.
Yes. So that's basically a combination of hysteria balance, fear balance. I forget always what is BT mix. Hold on. Let me just see here. I should write that in there. BT. No. Oh, bad temper mix.
Oh,
That
okay.
I
Yeah.
also mentioned before. Um, oh, this book is so worn out. Okay, and stress balance, depression balance, heart balance, calming mix or calming pills, rescue plus, and walnut.
Wow.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So it's a lot. So that's like um I just don't know. It's like this is like the remedy of the time that we live in.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to ask you, do you find that at different eras, there's different remedies that seem to be appropriate for the state of affairs and of the general population? Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
have one remedy like that I find super interesting. That's a single remedy that's called Baruda carb.
Okay. I don't know that
You
one.
heard about that,
No, I have
Baruda
not.
carb?
No,
No.
no.
So it's like when you learn about this remedy. So if I just take like materia medica here, whoops, and just like read like the first kind of like lines about Baruda carb, so this is the thing about a lot of our remedies. They have been described, and maybe 100 years ago, 150, maybe 200 years ago, but
Mhm.
it says delayed mental development, childish behavior, needs reassurance, easily influenced, lack of self-confidence, sense of
Mm.
inferiority, great passivity through the times, uh, though at times great ineffectual irritability, extreme difficulty in making decisions, anxiety disorder, anxiety about health, fears people being laughed at, doing new things, great difficulty at schoolwork, feels security in the house, too dependent to leave the house on his own, abnormal concern over his appearance, tries to look perfect, school phobia, and nail biting. So, when you're taught this remedy, what do you think? What do you think when you hear about this remedy?
I hear the description of a lot of children of today,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? They're just the things that are coming at them to confuse them, to put them off center so they don't know who they are. They're like the anxiety in children these days is ridiculous, right? The passivity, the lack of self-confidence, it's so obvious. It's so there. That's not what we're cultivating in our children these days. So that sounds like a very appropriate remedy that I would like to be able to access for a lot of people, actually.
Yes. But you know what? I prescribe it to a lot of adults.
Yeah.
Because if I just go through them, delayed mental development. Okay, let's get back to that.
Okay.
Childish behavior. Let's get back to that. Needs reassurance.
Huge. Yes.
Easily
An
influenced.
adult. Yeah. Yeah.
Lack of
That's
self.
kind of like most people, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. And that's what I find with this remedy. It's like our father figure has finally revealed himself as not being the caring father, but the brutal father. So we have to grow up. I have not prescribed this remedy easily or frequently before. Now I feel like I could give it every week to somebody.
Wow.
And I tell them not to read the Materia Medica because I say we need a new understanding. It's not because we are childish. It's just like because we have to grow up now.
100%. We have a lot
Yes.
of man-childs and women-childs out there. We have a lot of people that are just large bodies, but they haven't matured in many ways.
Yeah.
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 And we can talk about it. We can whine about it. We can have tantrums about it. We can scream, but who cares?
Yeah. Fair.
Move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deal with it. It's your life. Next.
Right. Interesting. And
That's
so
the
we were talking the other day about German new medicine, because that's something that I'm really looking through everything through the lens of German new medicine, which, it kind of brings that acute and that chronic thing together. But I think it comes from that initial unexpected shock that there are plenty of in this world. And I feel like there's a lot of pure Germany medicine people out there. They're like, you don't need this, you don't need that. But if you can bring in the remedy that's going to bring you to center, so you can even consider that you have the power to overcome. And that's how we're actually biologically designed and meant to do. Not even that we have the power, it's just our innate capacity. Like, I think this is such an
absolutely.
amazing tool to combo with, to bring people back to center and to homeostasis, so they can say, okay, well, that caused that, and now I'm not that person anymore. And that in itself will bring the healing. But people can't even get there. They can't even wrap their minds around this concept because they've been so programmed into outsourcing everything and believing in this medical model, not understanding the power of frequency, not understanding the divinity and the power of the healing of the body innately. So I love comboing this subtle medicine with what we already are capable of doing. But a lot of people don't even know it. It helps to bridge that gap, I feel.
And it's both German. Isn't it just interesting?
Isn't it though? Isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Although
And
I was going to say, although he did get kicked out of its country once he started to grow
what do you
this
think happened with
body
Hahnemann?
model. Yeah, well, that too,
He
right?
got kicked
Yeah.
out of his country too.
They're
He
on to
died in
something,
France. Yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but but this is the thing. What actually, one of the things that I kind of just one thing I keep saying over and over again right now, it is like, and it's the same thing with new German medicine. It's not that it's something that someone invented.
Right. Yes. It was
It's
revealed.
observation.
Right.
Yes, it's
Mhm.
observation. It's like I think of homeopathy as being no more mysterious than gravity.
Mm.
If because you can hold something in your hand and let go of it,
I'm not going to
it
bring this
doesn't
into
mean
this,
that
but
you
some people are
invented
also
gravity.
disputing the gravity thing.
I
They're
I
saying it's
understand. I
density, not
understand. I
gravity. We
understand.
won't
Yes.
go there,
Yes. Yeah.
but
No,
yes.
no. But
Yeah,
it's
but fair.
very interesting, and I do like that thought as well. But still, it's like observation that has been made on this planet. We can just look at it. We can just see
Right,
if I hold something here and I let it fall, and I let go of it, then it goes in this direction.
right, right,
So that doesn't mean that you invented gravity.
right,
It was there, yeah, or
right.
or this action was there, and that's how I feel about homeopathy. And that's what the same thing with new German medicine. It's not because, you, but like with homeopathy, I'm like, I know they had the homeopathy before. The Egyptians or the,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the people before that and before that and before, because this is just something that you have to discover. It's not that it's not that it has to be invented. It was already there. And the reason why I'm thinking about this, or like I'm getting this thought, is because I watched this really super interesting program about some caves in India, that are made to perfection, and they can't figure out how anybody could make anything like that, or what these caves are even for. I think they are for frequency. It's a frequency
So much of that.
apparatus
Mm-hmm.
because it's made so perfectly, and there's no sot in, or what's it called when you burn flames,
Soot,
the soot. Yeah, there's no soot in there. They can't find any soot, which basically means they didn't burn anything in there. And
right,
they say, how did they have light?
right.
But
Yeah,
then you can go back and you can look at the Tesla, the way Tesla, the real Tesla, how he also found out how to source electricity for us by just grabbing it out of
right.
the sky,
See?
basically,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's the same with this medicine. But you cannot dig energy out on an archaeological site.
right.
And that's what was kind of like getting me, because I'm like, well, so that means it didn't exist
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't found it in any dig
Right,
anywhere.
right, 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 right.
you know
But these great discoveries are like that, that it's coming from observation. It's coming from like Victor Schauberger, and water and the way that water moves, and just it's these, I think these great thinkers, they are observed, they're not trying to make anything new. It's there for us to work with. It's there for us. It's all meant to be a system working together. And
yes,
that observation, and it takes that keen mind to pay attention. It's not, I'm not trying to find the cure for cancer, because that's, well, there's so much wrapped into the fallacy of that from beginning to end. We're not even going to get into that. But these great minds, it's about observing and
yes,
curiosity, right? That
yes, yes.
curiosity of that, and the imagination, and working with that.
And it's like with homeopathy, it's like it wasn't invented. We know Hahnemann because he wrote books about it. Okay, good. But it doesn't mean that nobody worked with this
Right,
before, because it
right,
was already there.
right, right, right.
And
Exactly.
the same thing with the new German, when you observe the organs, you have a acute impact that leaves you with some chronic symptoms.
Right. If you, yeah, 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 I know. And it's just revealed. And it's just, and he had to have that cancer scare, and had the loss of his son. He's like, I wonder if that has anything to do with it, and just, yeah, it's super cool. Super cool.
Yeah,
So interesting. So yeah, we talk about Hahnemann being like the father or the discoverer or the creator of homeopathy, but it's more just the one who brought it to the masses, I would say, right? And to the modern world. But frequency's always been, and really that's what it is.
frequencies already been. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
also in the Narayani remedies, there is a shock remedy. And that's like one of my, like when I train in these remedies, I say a good place to start. I'm like, prescribe shock, prescribe shock for everybody,
Totally.
and shock as a remedy, it has arnica, ignatia, opium, and passiflora in there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And do you think that would just be good, just as a, for anybody, just to look to see if they want to clear some vibes that they don't even know what could be, how it could be impacting them, just to do a round of that?
Yes.
And how long would you stay? How would you do it in that regard when you're not treating a physical obvious symptom?
Here, according to the Narayani, they say 3 times daily, and on improvement, reduced to once daily, 3 times weekly. Normally, 2 or 3 doses do the trick. Then it is good to repeat a few doses once a week. And the trick, do the trick. How do you know if it do the trick? I'll
Right.
tell you how you know if it do the trick. You're gonna fall asleep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you're gonna have beautiful sleep, so that you almost feel like I need to go and get another shock so I can get this beautiful sleep after. No, the sleep is amazing. And that's what happens, because if you jump into cold water,
Mhm.
do you do cold water plunges and stuff like that? Do you
I'm
have
so
any?
weak. I try, but I'm not very good at it. Let's
So
just
what?
not like you. You're the master. Holy cow. Going into the sea in Denmark. Oh my goodness, in the
Yes.
wintertime. I've watched those
Yes.
videos.
Yeah. But what is it that you have to do when you get into the water? You have to breathe out.
Mm.
Because when you jump into the cold water, your natural instinct is to breathe in, because that's what exactly. And that's the same thing we do when we get a shock.
Right.
And then we say, and then when the danger is over, what do? We say, phew, oh, phew,
Right.
thank God
Right.
it's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
breathe out.
Breathe out. Yeah, I probably have to take that remedy for all the times my son has scared me. He loves to sneak up on me and scare me. And that's like, I'm like, you're probably causing deep trauma that I have to resolve now. God.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
yeah.
right? That's that
Yes.
breathe in. And that's why it's so important to breathe through the nose too, not people like mouth breathing in all the time too. It gives a different signal to the body.
It does. And but also at the same time, the only way that you can give a signal to your body that now you're safe, it is to breathe out for longer than breathing in.
Right.
Because that then in that way it's the only signal you can give to the vagus nerve. Then you tell the rest of your body, I'm safe. And that's also why the cold water can be so interesting, because you basically become very good at dealing with stress, so to say, because you just return to your breathing. So when I take my first stroke
Mhm.
in the cold Scandinavian water, I
Mhm.
say,
Ouch.
I just breathe out. And when I have done that 2 times, everything is calm because my body is not in panic.
Wow. Yeah. Great idea. Okay.
But shock is a nice remedy to take every so often. And if you don't get tired after taking it, then I'm good.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And you can't treat anything else if your body is in shock, because if like if you're in shock, then it's basically your diaphragm that is tightening up. And that's like a huge muscle. And if you want to get into talking about chakras and stuff, then you can't move from from your lower chakras up to the heart chakra, if your diaphragm is tight, because you just can't get the energy through it.
Energy.
If you so you can't think, you can't get to your brain, you can't get to your heart, you can't get to your expression, your throat, you know. Um, so it is quite important to get out of this shock, fear
And I think that
state.
is a really appropriate remedy for a lot of people as well right now. Right? There's been a lot of shock, and there continues to be this onslaught of shocking news, shocking events, right?
Shocking
Shocking loss,
movies. Yeah.
shocking movies, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's another good one?
Another good one. Let me see. So we got tension, we got shock. Well, I think something as simple as blood. I mentioned blood already. Um,
So,
no,
what
I
will
already,
that do for the blood?
it will just support the blood. Just get the blood kind of like in tip-top shape. Everything that's being transported more or less in your body goes through the blood. You have all your your immune system, the new, it's like I just really like this feeling, of doing something good for the blood. I love doing that.
Will it
But I have
support
this,
flow of blood as well?
no, that would be more something like arnica you can actually use to support flow of blood. So you
Okay.
can, because, like the good flow of blood, it means that your blood vessels have to be full, completely full, to full capacity.
Mhm.
Because if the blood vessels are fluffy, then the heart has to pump harder, work harder, basically to pump the blood around in the body. So, you need to have like your blood vessels, they just have to be full because then everything is just flowing like woo, 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 like, and the heart doesn't have to work so hard, to pump everything around.
But it's not actually pumped. That's what we know now, right, about the heart. Do you know that one? Do you know that? Have you looked into that?
But no, I haven't actually. But it's like the heart. So let's just say the heart doesn't have to work as hard.
Right. Fair. Fair.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because that's an interesting one with the whole, it's
Tell
a
me.
vortex. It's a vortex. And it has
Yes.
to do with the fourth phase of water, and that's how the blood is flowing. I'm gonna botch it, so I'm not gonna get into that. But Tom Cowan has a really great book about the heart. And because what's been discovered, that if we were actually to be pumping blood through all these miles and miles of vessels, that like the heart is it would be this huge mechanical pump that would fill this room. It doesn't have the capacity
Yeah,
to pump it
yeah,
to that extent into those tiny little vessels. But it's a
yeah.
vortex, and there's rhythm and there's other stuff, but I won't get into that. But
Oh,
anyways,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. That, yeah. So for arnica, that would be something for
It
more.
would just
So
attract more water into the blood.
right, right. And
Yes,
then it probably
yes,
is
and
going to
that's
help with
why.
even the structure of the water, I would think.
Well, you need to have good quality water. You need to, and I love the fourth phase of water as well. I had the pleasure of meeting that Pollock guy one
Oh,
time in
you did.
Copenhagen. Yes, I went to
Oh,
see
Gerald
him.
Pollock. Yeah.
Yes, a very interesting guy. And actually, he gave a lecture in the Copenhagen University at the Pharmacological Institute.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Wow.
I love it because they have a freak day every year where they invite freaks. They also had homeopaths coming in once, like Dr. Peter Fisher, that was the Queen of England's homeopath, and
Ah,
a
mm.
researcher, a European researcher, and so and then they did him, and I came in, and I got up, and I said, I understand because I'm a homeopath. And I was just like, I'm not gonna take this bullshit anymore. I'm not gonna be intimidated by you because you are the ones that don't know. You know,
Right. Right.
you're sitting here to be entertained. Well, actually, for me, this is real knowledge and information. You know, but they like kudos to them, for inviting these people in because they do invite people in that do proper research and stuff so they can speak the scientific language and they can understand and they can look at the studies and they're like, okay, they're getting challenged anyway.
At
That's where I
least.
saw him.
Hopefully they're allowing something in. New paradigm,
Yeah.
hopefully coming.
Yes.
So, okay, so blood, what else? How many do you have,
So
some that you find that you're frequently recommending more so than others, on top of like the shock and the tension?
um well, it's like so I have a little list. Let me see if I can find that of Narayani remedies that oh yeah, now good, I got this list, so that it's like very nice ones, for like people that don't know, maybe not homeopaths, it's just like where my observation is that this could be a useful remedy. So injury, obviously,
Yeah.
tension, obviously, CCA, obviously. Um, then we have, oh, which one should I take first? Worms.
Mhm.
So many have parasites,
Mhm. Big topic these days.
which is hmm?
It's a big topic these days. Worms.
Very big topic, yes.
Mhm.
And cleansing worms is not going to solve anything. Let me just say it like that right
Right.
away.
Yeah, I
It's
appreciate
not,
that.
yeah. But still, if you are okay to address the underlying issue, which is always a detox problem,
Mhm.
it always has to, have to remember that the parasites are only eating toxins.
Right. They're there to help, right?
Yes, 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 exactly. And that's why they're there. They're there because your body doesn't detoxify properly. So that's something that you have to address, and we have to understand that. But we live in toxic worlds. When we are stressed, we fill ourselves up with adrenaline and cortisone or cortisol or whatever, which is all toxic. It's toxic to the body. So we have to address, like, I don't know if I talked about the coffee enemas before. I probably did. I
Oh,
love
probably.
doing
I've done a
coffee.
whole interview on coffee enemas as well. So yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Fantastic. And that's like, for me, it's just like this kind of like, actually, I did one just before I saw you, my dear.
Oh, you
I've
did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but because it's just like one way that I just want to detoxify a little bit in the background all the time. But worms is a huge, big issue. So, and like the protocol for the way that it's described in here is you take it 3 times a day for 1 month, take a break for 2 weeks, and then you do the same thing again for 1 month.
Easy.
How easy is that?
Easy.
And then they also say, and eat lots of carrots.
Okay.
Yeah,
Carrots
apparently
specifically.
that's quite good. But there's also cleansing. So if you take like just cleansing mixes, like detoxing, I prescribed that today just for cleansing, just to do cleanse. You can do, of course, I love doing the coffee enema, but um because I want to save my space for homeopathic remedies. It's like, I don't know, I'm maybe a little bit of a purist like that. But you can do homeopathic cleansing as well.
Would that
And
work
another
also for
cleansing,
heavy metals and things like that? Is that heavy metals or is that just supporting the organs of detoxification or is it going to
uh,
pull up specific things?
let me just see, because there's like two cleansing mixes. One of them is a little bit more hardcore than the other. Na, 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 na. Oh, yeah, got here. We got cleansing. So cleansing mix, the one I'm talking about here, it it has a remedy called Detoxify, and that's made by Dr. Tansley. Do you know Dr. Tansley?
Hansley?
Yeah, so he
No.
did but he's doing things with the pendulum. He's doing vibration and
Oh,
stuff with the
oh, okay.
pendulum,
Yeah, no.
So this is like a remedy that he's made, or like a vibration that he's made. Dr. Tansley has made.
Okay.
So he's like Dr. Tansley's compound antidoting allopathic drugs, chemicals, and insecticides. Okay, so
Okay.
that's great. And then there's diazepam compound, a compound antidoting allopathic drugs, chemicals, and insecticides. And then K-Life strengthens the nervous system after the body has been ravaged with allopathic drugs. And Nox Vomica, which
Mhm.
antidotes allopathic drugs. And he says, they say, here this again, 2 pills 3 times a day. I wouldn't care about the 2 pills as a background remedy for at least a month.
Okay, and this would be good for people that are learning and transitioning, I think, from that allopathic model going to a more whole foods model, right? To have get rid of those residues and to clean that out. Because so many people, I've known so many people that have been on like handfills prescriptions working off of them. What a great boost, a tool, an ally to help with that, removing that.
100%.
Yeah,
Or even just do it once a year, just like it's January or whatever people want to do in January.
right.
Lots of people like doing stuff, just add that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Then there's another cleansing one. I haven't added this one, just like on the kind of like every day, because it's quite strong, and it even says once days daily. If too strong, then 3 times a week.
Wow.
It's like a combo of a combo. It's like
Wow.
combination.
Yeah.
So that's like a more stronger one. But there is another quite nice, which is actually also like a very low key little, um maybe a little bit surprising, which is, it's called Skin D. There's the skin itch and the different skin stuff. But it's like taking this Skin D which has arsenicum, berberis. Do you know berberis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
very
actually
good
have a
kidney
Berberus
remedy.
Homocord. I don't even actually know what that's for exactly, but I
It's
have
kidney.
kidney. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And gunpowder. Do you know gunpowder?
Gunpowder. No.
Yes, yes. So that that's a do you know that as a cowboy medicine when they use
No.
gunpowder?
Oh, they
No.
stuff it. Do they stuff the wound or something like that?
Yes, and light it on
Ah,
fire. Because what happens is that now an infection can't spread. Basically,
mhm.
it can't spread beyond that. So it's like we call it's very good to hold infection. So gunpowder holds the infection and prevents it spreading to other parts of the body. Look, so that's why they did it. Luckily, we can do it with homeopathy today.
Yeah.
Uh, So,
Mhm.
and then there's penicillin, so just made penicillin made from homeopathy, Rustux, which you may know as a skin remedy, also joint remedy, and then strep and staph, nosodes, and sulfur. So this little freaky witch's brew here, it can be great for just like if you're already detoxing through the skin.
Oh,
You don't
okay.
want to stop that process with
Right.
hormonal creams or cortisone creams or anything. That's
Right.
my new slogan. Cortisone cream works as well on eczema as a new lick of paint does on what's it called?
Rust
When
or something.
No, not on rust. What's it called when you have the black mold, black
Mold.
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 Yeah.
Uh,
Cortisone cream works just as well as paint does on black mold.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
horrifying what happens when people start going off the cortisone creams and their symptoms after that. I know somebody who was like for a year or 2 years, like his wife would actually have to hold him while he would like shake and cry. It got to be so bad, all the stuff coming out after that suppression, right? Because that's just the medical model, suppression medication, medicine. It's just suppress. Well, what's going to happen eventually when that needs to come through? Like, oh, awful.
Exactly.
Can imagine that.
Exactly. And that's where Skin D can help a little bit in these situations because it's speeding up the process.
Right.
Because that's the kindest thing you can do. Speed
Right.
up the process.
So it could be a little bit intense for a while, right? And uncomfortable. Yeah.
Depends on how much you use it and for how long time you use. The best thing is never to get on it. Just say no.
Oh yeah, for sure. With the other stuff. Absolutely, for sure. But I'm saying it could the healing can be very intense and uncomfortable and that's the thing. Yeah.
Healing is not pretty.
No. And that's what people have to understand, right? Like there are symptoms, and I know you're, I think, of the same mind as, and then again, this brings in GNM as well as this healing that symptom. So if you need to remove something, if you need to dissolve something, there has to be pus, there has to be mucus, there has to be blood, there has to be things that are moving in order to remove it. That is your healing. And when people can start embracing that and just turn their mind around on what their symptoms are rather than wanting to stop them, we get in the way of ourselves so much because of that. And we think that's the scary part. That's the good part, right?
The symptoms are the solution. But I
Right,
would say, I would reckon that would be a quote I have stolen from New German Medicine. Symptoms are the solution.
right, right. Yeah, they are.
And yeah. And because what is it that we feel when we feel the symptoms? We basically experience our immune system working.
Right.
It's not the disease that is doing it.
It's the
It's
pain and the swelling and the microbes and the excretions and the all that stuff because the swelling, the water comes and has to support that environment and deliver the fluids out. And I just went through an interesting one. I won't get into it now, but I just went on the one.
but is it the disease? Is it the disease that causes the swelling and delivers the fluids? No, it's the immune system
It's the
that
healing,
causes the swelling and delivers the
the
immune
healing.
system, the
Yeah.
fluids.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fascinating. That's what. So you, my
Yes.
friend, are going to be teaching this, right? Are you offering a new session of the Narayani Remedies,
Yes.
their 4-class series?
Yes.
Okay, so when are you doing
Yes.
this?
From from October 2nd. So it's a nice little, and it's 4 weeks. So what a nice, so you'll be done in time, before for Christmas. It will not, you can just lean back and enjoy it. And it's there's no, all you have to do, if you participate in all the live stuff, then you even get a certificate.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but there's no exam, and there's no kind of like that you have to participate or something. But what just works so well is that every time there's homework, and the homework is to make a combination remedy for a person that they know, that everybody that's it could be some for yourself, for someone in your family, for your colleague, for what, and then you just describe the condition you want to treat, or the person you want to treat, and then you bring, okay, these are the drops that I will, the combination that I would make for this patient, and then in that way, we have something real to talk about.
Right.
And I will come with suggestions from, all the creeks and corners of this book. And this is the way that we really learn it. It's like super hands-on. And also because we learn so much from listening to others making remedies, sitting with the same book. It's a fantastic course. It's a fantastic, and that's okay. It's easy for me to say because I made the course, but that's actually what the students are
Right,
saying.
right, right,
Eh,
right,
And,
right.
and and yeah, yeah. And it's becoming like a little community. Hopefully I get to grow this a little bit more, because lots of the people that participate on these courses, they would like to meet monthly, just for like a little exchange, and then maybe I'll give a 20-minute presentation of something. And then after that, we just talk. People say, okay, I
Right.
made this, it worked like this, just to community share, share our experience, keep ourselves, motivated. But it's so easy. It's not difficult to be motivated about Narayani, because you get results so quickly. But
Yeah.
that's and what I need to do is I need to now merge the Danish speakers with the English speakers, because I think then we have a group that will be kind of like big enough for to say, okay, let's meet once monthly, and yeah. But it's 4 Wednesdays, I think it is, 2.5 hours. It gets recorded. You have access to it for the rest of your life, and
So
all
how
the
do people
information.
find out about that? They go to homeopathically.com to
Yes,
find the
or maybe
Narayani
come to my
course.
Instagram. I will chew
Oh,
your
let me
ear
finish.
off also from so homeopathy on Instagram as well. Um,
Okay. I'll
yes.
put those links down below. And if somebody's like, oh my goodness, I need that remedy right now that you were talking about, where does somebody get these remedies? And does it matter what country you're in?
You just you go to narayani.com. I mean, you got to be a little bit patient. They have to ship it, but they ship all over the world every day.
Are
It's
they based in South Africa?
No, they are in London, England.
Oh, London. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
but
Okay.
you just have to, when you go to the website, you need to register yourself there, so that you basically make an account, so to say,
Okay.
because you have to have need to be registered on the website and be logged in to see the prices and to be able to order.
Okay. And they're the only one. There's no other dispensaries that are providing those remedies.
Maybe, you know,
Maybe. Okay.
I just like always sending people there, because I know they can always deliver
That is fun.
everything,
Okay. Okay.
you know.
Be
Yeah.
fascinating to look through and see. Is there also information? Well, we're going to learn, I guess we can learn through you as well, but yeah, that's like there's got to be so many, and it's so easy. It just takes the pressure off. It's like, okay, you've got this. Let's just give this to you. I just love the simplicity of it all without having to. Because I'm always telling people, like, people are coming to me with some, and I'll recommend a bunch of things, and I always go back to the emotional stuff, and then I go back to our basic elements of what we need to support ourselves, like the minerals, and let's get the flow going, and let's look at our breath. Really basic things that you don't have to really, outsource it all. But then I always say, okay, well, look at your symptoms and look up homeopathy and see what's the best match. but
Yes.
sometimes that's hard to choose that way. So I love having this whole combo schmoz thing that just, okay, we've got it covered. Take
But
this.
you know that, yeah, and that's what the Narayani does. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's so easy just to get in there, and it's you know, so it's, some people would criticize it, some people do criticize it for being combination remedies, and I'm just like, okay, so
I
just take a
don't understand
painkiller and
that. That
no,
doesn't
I
make sense.
no. It's but there is like look, it's like I just heard this so often. People, they say there is like the old is going to die now. The old, oh, everything that's old is going to die. It just can't. It's like what's old is very, you know, like what human made whole old is that we have to get out of these rigid dogmatic ways of
Right.
thinking, and we have to be more flexible. Actually, if they say what's the one thing that all happy people have in common, it is that they're flexible.
Right.
That, you know,
Yes. It's true.
dog-
That
dogma
dogma,
makes
that
you
dogma,
grumpy, you know.
yeah, it creates
Yeah.
unnecessary stress. It creates this need to control this. Yes, absolutely. That flexibility, being able to adapt to the changing climates. Like that's one thing about me that I think has been very helpful for these last 4 years is I love actually having my mind changed. I love thinking, okay, I've got this. And all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, I didn't. Like, look at this. This is amazing. Let's just drop that and go this way. I actually love that. I love thinking a different way. Like the whole thing with germ theory and contagion, and like 4 years ago, I never really considered it much. And then I'm like, holy cow, wow, that was a big learning, and it makes sense. And then
Yes.
it empowers you, takes the fear away, and you just move on. And then you're not, to be stuck in control is a really great way to stress yourself out unnecessarily. Right? There's enough
Yes.
to stress
Yes.
out about as it is. We don't need to
Oh my
add
God.
our
Yeah.
limits to that. So love that. And this just makes sense. Like I don't know why there should be a rule where you couldn't come, and the proof would be in the pudding, right? The proof would be in the results. If it works,
Completely,
why would you
completely. You
deny
know,
that?
completely. And I also got to say that there's more people that I have trained, or some people that I have trained in the Narayani remedies, that have chosen to become homeopaths later on, because they're like, this is brilliant. I want to know everything. And then you need to, go and do the full training or whatever. But it's a beautiful it's like how you get, and it's not just, sometimes I think that if I had known about Narayani, okay, when I started using homeopathy, I had the blue kit, and I started using it, and I prescribed, like, probably like like giving remedies to everybody, and they
Yeah.
come back and they say, oh, this was great, or this was,
Yeah.
they try me, or, like, this helped my kid so much, and okay, now I'm gonna come to you with this much more complicated thing,
Right.
because you
Yeah.
helped me with this. Yeah. And that's it, that I was like, when I felt like I maxed out what you could do with the kit. I was like, okay, I know this kit, I know what it can do. And I understand that there are thousands of more homeopathic remedies, and I want to know I don't know how to access them. It's like I don't know how to understand the remedies in the same way as I understand these 36, because there is like a huge gap. It's not like you can learn this and then there's step two, there's step one and step 10.
Right.
It's like very, very hard. There's no kind of like soft middle. And then you learn a little bit more. So no, there's nothing like that. But so that's why I became a homeopath. But I think, honestly, if I had known about Narayani at that point, that I would just have
You
stuck
would
with
have stopped
that.
there. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So what last minute, I think we've been going for a while. Anything last words that you want to say about it? So October 2nd, you've got this class coming up. So
Yes,
folks, if you're
yes,
interested
yes.
in that, Mette is lovely and wonderful and approachable and friendly and knowledgeable and everything. So I know you're going to love it if you decide to take that class. There's also on my, like I said, sovereigncollective.org/shop, you can get the 36 remedy class, the daily dose, which is so fun, so convenient. You can read it, you can get this audio and listen every day. It's with the blue kit from Helios, which I was offering, like, I don't have any in stock right now, but if anybody's interested, you can contact me or you can order it from Helios. It's an amazing kit that I take with me everywhere. So that's your handy thing. There's also a couple other, there's the birth course in there with her birth, all the access around that. That's so important, that the whole birthing thing. We got to change the way
Yes.
we bring our babies into this world. And homeopathy is a big gift for that.
Yes.
And then I think I have another one on there. But anyways, check her out. Check out her Instagram. I'm gonna have the links below in the show notes. And Mette, what else? Final words before we go.
May the vital force be with you.
Oh, may the vital force be with you. Awesome. Love that. And so to build on that, do you think that over time with homeopathy, we can build that vitality, or is there a bigger picture? Like it's part of the picture, or do you think that's going to also help to build that vitality?
I don't
Homeopathy.
think we don't have to build the vitality. The vitality is there. We just have to lift the suppression.
Oh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. It's
You
already
know,
there.
it's
Yeah.
like if you have like 100 energy points, but 50 of those energy points, they have to work constantly on suppressing your grief. Let's just make it, if you have to go out and you just have to
Oh,
pretend that you're okay every day, you know, that's going to be like a huge, massive strain on you, that it's going to steal your energy. So what you need to do, just go out and cry? Well, probably, but what you need to do is to heal that grief so you don't have to carry it, you know.
oh, yeah, love this. Love that.
And at the same thing with physical symptoms, because when you take, there is like, okay, can I talk about one more remedy?
Yes, go. One more
Thank
remedy.
you.
Okay, yeah,
It's
yeah.
called carcinosin, and it's actually a remedy made from cancer, breast cancer, right, left-sided breast cancer. I think it is left-sided. I think they took the breast nearest to the heart. So Um, what is that? That is the remedy number one for suppression. Okay, suppression because you take antihistamines for your hay fever, suppression because you have to mold yourself into who the person that your mother wants or your partner wants or your employer wants, you know, that, or suppression because you have pain, you have migraines and you have to keep taking painkillers for that, or suppression because you take contraceptive pills. um
Oh, wow.
you know,
Yeah.
it's suppression, 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 you know, like on all levels. And the way that, you know, I use carcinosin a lot for people that lack energy. And the way that I describe it is that if you put uh, tarp down on your lawn, nothing is going to grow there.
Right.
Not because it can't grow, but because there's a weight on it. There is something on top of it that is steep, that is making it, that is just making it impossible. And you know, maybe one little whatever is gonna find its way through. It's not as easy as it looks, you know. It's gonna be like, fuck, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get, you know. And
Yeah.
and then this is how we live with suppression. It's like we are walking under a top. So it's like every time we have to look, we have to kind of like do like this, you know.
Mm,
Every time we have to carry something, we have to like, you know, it's just like our life just becomes so much more difficult if we live under a top, you know. But then when we lift the top, it's not that we did anything, we just removed the strain.
Right. Love it.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
the vital force, the vitality is there. We just have to not get in the way,
And
like you
there's
said.
so many ways to get in the way. I actually recommended this one guy. I was crying with him about a week and a half ago with just him telling me his story. And I recommended two things for him to, with his anxiety and just to like some Shilajit and some microdosing. And
Yes.
I see him
Yeah.
like not even a month later. And I said to him, so what do you, what? He's like, life changing. He's been on a history
Yes.
of antidepressants, anxiety meds,
Hmm.
ADD meds, years of all this stuff, limiting behaviors in terms of controlling and all this stuff. Literally on day one, he says, I saw the trees breathe. Like I started crying. He's like, I'm like, you know, it was there all along. It was always there for you to take. right? Always. And he is
Yes.
connected deeply with some things. And like, you've got some stuff like a talent, skills, you're in tune. And it's like, how did I, like, all along, this was my medicine. And it was years and years and years, like literally it's less than a month. And I'm just like, it's like, I can never repay you in this lifetime. I'm like, you did it. Like, you just needed to, oh, I was just bawling. And it was just it's like, that's the thing. So I love that because it's there. It's there for us to take. We just have
And
to.
just tell me, how did that make you feel to help this guy?
Oh, it's what I'm here for. I'm here to like I can cry right now, right? Like I
Yes,
can cry right now. Like this is what that's just, I just want people to see it in themselves, and I can see it for them so easily, right? It's just so I mean, it's fulfilling. It's touching. It's like yes, that's what I'm here for.
exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yeah,
And that's what it's like to be able to prescribe. And whatever it is you're prescribing when you're helping,
yeah,
it's like sometimes I'm sitting there and I think, this is out of balance. I know that you're very happy that your baby is not itching anymore. But if you knew the happiness it brings to me that your baby is not itching
right.
anymore and
Oh my
I could help
goodness.
you do that,
Yes.
fuck, that's like,
Huge.
I cannot get any more happier than
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I feel that.
Mhm.
Okay, my friend, this is so good. Thank you so much. It's always so fun to connect with you. You hold on, but guys, homeopathy, it can be miraculous. I've seen it many, many, many times. And now we've got a new tool in our toolkit, the Narayani Remedies. So check that out. Check out Mette, check out her site, check out her Instagram page, check out her offerings. She is a warrior and she knows her stuff and she cares. And so that's worth a lot these days. So thank you, Mette. I always appreciate chatting with you.
Thank you.
I don't even know how to turn this off now. Oh, here we go. Okay. Bye, everyone. Enjoy. See you next time. Share this. By the way, wait, share this. Make sure you share this podcast. Make sure you share everything because this is like, I want to grow. I'm ready to grow this platform. I'm ready to grow this podcast. I get so much feedback. So I'm going to ask you to share it because people can't find me. So if you can help me out, I would super appreciate that. Like we've got such great information. So share the podcast. And until next time, be well, check out homeopathy, do something that jazzes you, find your purpose. Thank you for listening. I love you.